Hi guys, my name is Christine, and today I am talking about I figured out how to assume the feeling and manifested everything. So basically, I'm going to talk to you about the things that I did to manifest the things that I wanted. So a couple of years ago now, nearly a couple of years ago now, I managed to manifest two very, very important things in my life. One was a case that I really wanted to win. It wasn't like a legal case, but I had been wronged in some way, and I wanted to rectify that. And also, I wanted to manifest being pregnant. And I managed to do all of those things within 3 weeks, okay, from when I started doing this. So I'm going to give you the resources and tell you what the resources were that I used to help me get into the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and manifest everything. And it's only till I've been recently, as you know, my content has changed a little bit on this channel because I've been talking about God consciousness. I've been talking about Neville Goddard's books, and it's only since I've been really getting into those things that I've started to really connect the dots on how this kind of thing actually works and how to manifest stuff. So what are these resources then? Let's get straight into that. So first of all, there was a meditation that I was doing around that time. Okay. And the meditation was here on YouTube. You can go and watch it yourself, and listen to it yourself. And it's a meditation by a YouTuber, a very popular YouTuber here on YouTube when it comes to manifesting too, called Aaron Doughty. Okay. Now, Aaron Doughty made a meditation called it's about a parallel reality, how to shift to a parallel reality. And now there's a few that he's done on those, and to be honest, I was listening to most of those, but I think the most popular one is the one that I listen to the most. Okay, and I think I listened to that pretty much every day for those 3 weeks. And yeah, so it's about shifting to the parallel reality that you prefer. Okay, and that's something that I did. Right, that's something that I used. And what's good about that, it's not necessarily that you are literally going to shift dimensions, because apparently, according to that video, that he says that we're always shifting parallel realities. So it's because of the different actions and the different choices that we decide to do every single day. Like, we go into a new reality, because let's say, for example, that I was taking my child out for a walk yesterday. Okay, I usually go the same way, the same direction, usually when I go, and to the same park. But recently that park has been very, very muddy. And when I got out of the house, I was like, I should probably go to the other park, because the other park is a bit further away, but it's less muddy. But I was umming and ahhing about it. I was thinking, maybe I should just go to the same one. Maybe I should, because it's much easier to get to. It's just around the corner. But I went to the one that was further away because it was less muddy. But I was still umming and ahhing about going to the other one. So there's probably a parallel reality where I chose to actually just be lazy and go to the other one, okay? There's probably also times in my life where I've hit the snooze button and I haven't woken up in the morning. Well, I have woken up, but I've just not woken up at the time I've decided to. But there's probably a parallel reality where I did wake up at that time. So, and it's all about these little choices that we're making, okay? So anyway, go and check out the meditation, do it for yourself, okay? Really get into the feeling state of it, get nice and comfortable. And that was one of the things that I believe really, really helped me, okay? So there was also music that I was listening to around that time as well, because I use music to pump myself up and get myself into a really good feeling, to get myself excited, to get myself happy. And music really changes my mood. It's one of those things that it really, really works well for me, right? It changes my mood. Hey, pussycat. Yeah, pussycat. Yeah, pussycat. Anyway, so that's Lady, by the way. She's very, very good. She's very good at manifesting. She's very good at going into parallel realities. Sometimes I don't know where she is, and then she just jumps out at me. I'm like, whoa, she just jumped out of a different reality. Okay, so anyway, music. So there was a lot of music that I was listening to. So what were the music? What was the specific music that I was listening to around this time? So one of them was Just Around the River Bend from Pocahontas. That was one of my favorite movies as a kid. And I remember actually even singing to this. Like, me and my wife would go out for a walk. We went to this place called I think it's called Cotswold Water Park or something. But anyway, we went to this water park, and basically there's just like loads of little rivers around, and we went to one and we just walked around it, and I just kept on singing just around the river bend because there was lots of like windy little sort of like little tiny streams. And I just got really excited about that song, and just felt like something good was going to be coming into my life, because I was trying really hard to like feel like, oh yes, I'm gonna get pregnant this month, and I'm gonna win this case. I know I'm gonna make this wrong right. So and you know, there's a line in the song just around the river bend which goes, you know, waiting for me, what's waiting around the river bend for me, something along those lines. And it's all about like anticipation and excitement of like not knowing what's just around the river bend, and how that's going to affect you, and how you know, something good could just be coming around the corner and you don't know it yet. And it's just like just talking about that gives me chills and goosebumps. And it's just one of those pieces of music that just really resonates with me. In fact, I remember as a kid, I was about maybe, I don't know exactly how old I was actually, but I had a little, because when I was a kid, we didn't have CDs or MP3, or we didn't have, you know, Spotify and YouTube and everything. So I had like a little cassette, a little what were they called? Yeah, cassettes, just little cassettes of music from Pocahontas, and I think I just had that one song on it. I think I just had Just Around the River Bend. And I remember, you know, sticking it into my little player thing and just listening to it so much. So it's a song that's always just sort of been with me, even since I was a child. So there was other music that I was listening to as well. I was also listening to a lot of Sia, okay? And there was a song specifically that helped me manifest my baby, I believe. And that song is called Unstoppable. And I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just using that music to pump me up and get me into a good mood. But that was the music that we were listening to just before we got out the car and I went to go and have my fertility treatment, which led to me having the baby. And that song was Unstoppable by Sia. And when we got pregnant, when I became pregnant, we used that just before we would go to scans, because I had a miscarriage a few months prior to this happening. And basically I got really nervous then each time I went to a scan, because when we went to our first scan, that's when I realized that we weren't having a baby anymore, that our baby had passed away and stopped developing. So we would use this piece of music to pump us up with the pregnancy that was successful, because we have, you know, but also it became our child's song as well. Like we decided that they were also unstoppable too. And it was just like a really beautiful thing. But also there was other music that I was listening to as well by Sia, which was Titanium and The Greatest. Those two songs as well. I was listening to those on repeat, and I just used these songs as just pump me up and make me feel good. Obviously, you may not like those things. You may not like Disney music. You may not like Sia, which is fine. Just find music that pumps you up, makes you feel good, and makes you feel empowered. Okay. So the other thing that I want to talk about is motion and emotion. Okay. So one of the things that I was also doing as well was I was walking around my room, our bedroom, pumping myself up, just going yes, like as if it had already manifested. I would visualize it and I'll just, you know, go yes, yes, and like really feel it and be like yes, basically, because I was just in the moment of really believing that it had happened, that it had occurred. Okay. So another thing that I was doing around that time as well was I was just living differently. And the way that I was living differently was I was doing things more out of intuition. So one of those days, I decided that I really wanted to draw again, which is something I did. I made a drawing. And it's something that I haven't done since. And it's something that I hadn't been doing before. I hadn't drawn a full picture in many, many years. It wasn't a particularly great picture, but I have it framed because of that time, to remind me of that time in my life when I was doing these things and manifesting all these things that I really, really desperately wanted. So Or is there something that you like to do, but you don't maybe always get the chance to do it? Or something that you used to do as a kid, and sometimes you just feel drawn to do things. So, like, let's say, for example, because I get this feeling sometimes, like when I'm out and about and I see like a nice tree, and I'm like, oh, I'd really love to draw that. Or it could be that you can hear music in your head and you're like, oh, I'd really like to just quietly just compose that music and just keep hold of that music. Because obviously your hobbies are going to be different from mine. You may not want to draw something, but it's all about what you're drawn to, okay? What you're drawn to. And if you get an impulse to just do something a little bit different, like make a drawing, do it. Do it. Because for some reason it's just magically something that you just need to do in that moment, and it's to do with aligning yourself. And for some reason, by doing this action, by doing this inspired action, it's going to lead you somehow to your manifestations coming true. And I truly believe that when I drew that picture, I knew that it was something that I felt like I needed to do, so I did it. And I think because I did it, I was able to manifest these things along with obviously everything else that I was doing. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is mind. Now, you've got to be able to visualize these things very, very clearly. And that's one of the things that really helped me. Like, I was able to really visualize both of these things. I was able to visualize the phone call that I got to tell me that I'd won my case. And I was able to visualize the clear blue test. It was one of these ones that flash. It was a clear blue test and it flashes. Okay, it was that kind of test. And I could imagine that. I imagined it. On the side on the bathroom, on the side of my bath, next to the toilet, and I could see it. I could see it flashing and then saying pregnant. Okay, so I could imagine it all in my mind's eye. And so you got to be able to imagine these and visualize the things that you want very, very clearly. And there are times in my life where I've tried to manifest something and I haven't been able to do it simply because I wasn't able to visualize it very, very clearly. But these things that I really wanted, I could see very, very clearly in my mind. Okay, so that's the resources that I used. Those are the things that I used to make me get into the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Okay, so I could manifest everything that I wanted. And those are resources that you could easily go and do yourself. But what you got to do, though, is got to think of these things that I've said and think, okay, but is this aligned with me? Would this make me feel good? Would this make me feel aligned? Would this make me feel in tune with the wish fulfilled? Would this help me assume the feeling? Okay, so that's what I did. Okay, and I was able to manifest both of those things within 3 weeks of doing all these different things. Okay, now will you be able to manifest crazy things? Like, let's say you want to manifest like 50 million pounds or US dollars or whatever. Perhaps, if it feels natural to you. Like, I knew that there was a possibility. There was definitely a possibility that I could get pregnant because we was having treatment that month. There was definitely a possibility for me to win my case because I had a good argument as to why I should win. Okay, these are all things that I believed could happen. Of course, there was always doubt as well. Like, I could have not won the case as well. There was a chance that I would not win. There was definitely a chance that I would not get pregnant as well. Being 30 at the time. Yeah, I'm 32 now. So being 30 at the time, yeah, there was a chance I wasn't going to get pregnant because I'm clocking the years up a bit when it comes to fertility, okay? So yes, there were chances that these things weren't going to happen, but there was also a good possibility that they would too. And I chose to hone in on that and believe in that, okay? So thank you so much for watching. Make sure that it feels natural to you, okay? And I shall talk to you again very soon.